We continue our series now with candidates for governor in Kentucky with Republican Jacob Clark from Litchfield. Thanks for being here, sir.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Okay, you are an engineer by trade.
That's right.
How does an engineer become a candidate for governor?
Okay, well, I'm an inventor. I'm an idea man. And there's been some things happen in my life and my family where, basically government overload. And government came in and they shut down our churches. And it caused my son to lose his job. And, no one was there to help. So that's how I became a candidate for governor. I see the ones that were in elected office then, not doing anything really to push back on that, and wasn't really overwhelmingly pleased with their reaction time. So I've got a lot of ideas that I think are kind of outside the box that I want to give liberty back to the people.
Okay. One of the issues this spring medical marijuana. You support it. Why is that?
I support medical marijuana. Okay. I'm a Baptist minister, and I don't put a lot of trust in big pharmaceutical companies, things like that, and reading the Word about, using the green herb for food, for medicine. And, there's never been a death certificate in the country that says someone died from cannabis. Mm-hmm. So I see that, if we're in a free country, and if we say we're, based on Judeo-Christian values and all these things, then we should allow a mother to heal her child with a God-given natural plant that she can grow in her backyard.
Now, it's being, what would your concern be? Or there is some concern by some people that medical marijuana would be abused. What's your reaction to that?
Oh, well, yeah, anything's going to be abused. You can drink too much water and die from it. I mean, anything's going to be abused. That doesn't mean we should take away the freedom of others based on, preventative measures for these over here. So that's just the fundamental basic of freedom in America is individual liberty. It wasn't based on a class of people or a race of people or anything like that. It was based on the freedom of the individual. So yeah, sure, it'll be abused, but we should have laws that are punitive, not so much preventative, and take it from there. But we see all across our country and our state, we see fentanyl, methamphetamine, heroin, all these things that you can die from, and prescription drugs, definitely abused, and you can die from. And so I think we need to stop fighting a plant that can't kill people and focus those precious resources and energy and time in our courts and all those things on those things that do kill people.
Now, you mentioned freedom. Mm-hmm. Why are you opposed to people being free to have abortions?
Opposed to people being free to have abortions? Oh, because abortion is murder. So, that is a human being on the inside of a person, and, it stops a beating heart. Abortion stops a beating human heart. And that's defined as murder. So a choice to murder someone, I believe is definitely should be against the law. I mean, it's against the law if I were to threaten you or do something like that. So the child should get the same protection whether they're inside the womb or outside.
Here's an extreme case. Even if the mother and child could both die in childbirth, you'd still be against the abortion?
Okay, and that is to protect the mother's life or health, and that is a very sad situation that even me and my wife have been in. And no, I mean, to save the mother's life, that's a different situation. That would be the only way, but there are other issues, and I think the only time you should ever terminate a pregnancy is to save the mother's life for extreme health issues. And I think it should even have a different name, The abortions that are elective, that people just do it as basically a form of birth control, that should not be termed the same as something that people are doing to save a life. I think it's two totally different things.
You're in favor of cutting state income tax.
Oh, yes.
If that were done, how would you replace that financing?
Okay, well, that's a great question. So the income tax, if the income tax was 100%, then I'm forcing you to give me 100% of the fruit of your labors. And that is slavery. So a little bit of income tax is not slavery by percentage. So really, the income tax is immoral. It punishes productivity. Now, to replace it, what we really need is to lift a lot of the regulations that we have. You know, just spur more commerce, especially in the state. You know, our state, a lot of our industry has been taken away by regulations on coal and different things. So give that back, and now, even though it's a smaller percentage that is being brought in, the commerce goes up, so then you have more just from that offset.
What do you think is the single most important task of the governor of Kentucky?
Single most important task. So, you know, it would really depend on the times. You know, if we were in Civil War era, the single most important task might be a little different. But I think to bring them all into one umbrella, an important task, you know, they're the executive head of this jurisdiction of the state, okay? They look at a law that has been created, and they have to make a decision. Are we going to enforce this law? And if so, how are we going to enforce this law? What resources are we going to use? And so I think an important role of the governor is to not enforce bad laws, to block bad laws. A great example I like to use is the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850. You know, in 1850, our federal Congress passed a law enforcing slavery. And this meant that if you had a slave and they escaped my property, I had to return him to you or I'm going to jail. And a lot of people stopped enforcing that. Juries actually would nullify that. And so, you know, that's a case where a governor should say, no, we're not enforcing this. You know, gun laws is another one where a governor can just say, you know, we're not enforcing this here. We're not doing this here. If you want to enforce that, then good luck.
There are several candidates running for governor in the Republican primary. Why should people vote for you?
Okay. Well, I'm the only one that is talking about using the full authority of the governor's office to give liberty back to the people, to give people their freedom back, to block bad laws and regulations that are killing our food industry, our coal industry, and taking away our rights. Other candidates talk about you know, some 10-year plan where they're going to work with this one or that one. I'm saying we're going to do this on day one in the administration, and it's going to set Kentucky free from a lot of Washington, D.C. policies. So there's that, and you know, like I said, I've been assaulted by government in a sense through you know, things that happened in the pandemic, and you know, I'm not going to flip. That's what I want to look for candidates in any office moving forward. If they're going to get my support, I'm going to look for somebody who has been assaulted by government. They felt the heavy hand of government. They know that too much government is bad, and those are the kind of people that I'm going to look for moving forward, and that's kind of candidate I am.
All right. Thank you for your time, Mr. Clark.
Oh, thank you very much for having me.
You bet. Hey, everybody. Gene Birk here. Thanks for checking out our interviews with candidates running for Kentucky governor. Be sure to check out our full coverage of this year's primary in Kentucky at WBKO.com.